Welcome to Crosscut Now, the show that takes you beyond the breaking news, goes deeper on the issues you care about, and brings awareness to stories affecting communities. In today's episode, Washington voters are horrified by the road we're on as one general election cycle ended, and campaigning for the next presidential election is a year away. Details on why voters feel this way in the latest Crosscut Elway poll. We'll also look at the increasing cries for the Israel-Hamas war to end, right here in Washington. Plus, Black-led organizations are pushing efforts to curb gentrification while building wealth and ownership in their neighborhoods. I'm Paris Jackson. In today's episode, despite the political polarity in the country, Washington voters across party lines agree on some things about the 2024 election. We'll talk about the latest Crosscut Elway poll results. Washington state voters say they are not looking forward to the year ahead in national politics, voicing disapproval across the board from the presidential frontrunners to the direction of the country in the latest Crosscut Elway poll. About 400 registered state voters were polled, and the glaring takeaway, Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike are pessimistic and worried about the 2024 presidential election. The poll asked voters about Democrat Joe Biden and Republican Donald Trump. Some 70% of respondents said Biden is too old to be president, and 60% said Trump is a danger to democracy. 1 in 5 said they are worried/scared about the election. Concerning gun violence, another 59% said they were pessimistic, with only a small 16% minority saying they were optimistic. When asked about how well they think America's political system is working, 33% said it was failing, while 29% said it was unsatisfactory. I sat down with Crosscut News editor Donna Blankenship to discuss the most surprising findings from the latest Elway poll. Welcome, Donna. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paris. Nice to be here.
Voters did not hold back in their displeasure about the presidential frontrunners, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, or on a lot of topics concerning the state of our country. What was most surprising to you in this most recent Crosscut Elway poll?
The level of displeasure and worry among voters was very surprising. They said a lot of things I couldn't say on TV when asked to express how they're feeling in a couple of words about the country and this next election.
Voters seem to agree by big margins how they feel about Biden and Trump. What was your takeaway?
It was really interesting. A lot of people said that they considered both candidates to be corrupt. They felt they were both too old to be president. Even though Donald Trump and Joe Biden are similar in age, that applied more to Biden than Trump. They said he was too old to be president. And then they also agreed that both Biden and Trump are a danger to this democracy, more so on the Trump side than on the Biden side. There were some positive things as well, but those were not as strong.
Voters had a lot to say about how they feel America's political system is running. They also gave a grade. Explain that to us a little bit more.
So when we asked voters in Washington what they think about the current state of our democracy, they gave an average of a D for how we're doing. So they had a choice. They could say A for excellent, B for okay, C, et cetera. And the average grade was a D.
We're failing.
Basically, yes. They're very worried about the economy, about the environment, about gun violence. Big majorities felt that way.
Another Crosscut Elway poll is already in the works. Tell us what you guys are going to be asking voters.
So it's sort of a twin poll. This poll, we asked about the national election. And in January, late December, we're going to be asking about statewide races. So we'll ask voters how they're feeling about the governor's race, et cetera. And then we're also going to get a preview of the legislative session. Every year we ask Washington voters, what do you think the legislature should do this year?
And speaking of the state legislature, it's just around the corner. What should voters expect in this next session?
Well, it's a short session, and everyone's going to be so focused on the election that I think lawmakers are probably not going to get a lot done. It's not a budget session, although they'll do some budget things. I think they're going to take another look at the cap and invest system. Our carbon pricing system doesn't need to be adjusted. Raised a lot of money this year. They'll probably look at other environmental issues. And then there'll probably also be some discussion about election security after some things that happened during this past election.
It was a pleasure to talk with you today, Donna.
Thank you, Paris. It was my pleasure as well.
If you want to read more of those results from the Crosscut Elway poll or subscribe to the Politics newsletter, go to crosscut.com. Global and national calls for a ceasefire along the Gaza Strip are growing. We'll show you the measures pro-Palestinian demonstrators took at a local port. A massive group of pro-Palestinian demonstrators at a local port delayed a military vessel believed to be bound for Israel amid thousands of protesters rallying just days before at the Washington state capitol in support of Palestinians. On a rainy Monday, November 6th, hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked a military supply ship called Cape Orlando, thought to be picking up weapons in Tacoma to ship to Israel. Organizers associated with the Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network used social media and text messages to call for people in motor vehicles to help them block the port of Tacoma. A Seattle resident and demonstrator said she was there to stop the genocide ship and was willing to stay as long as it took. A Pentagon spokesperson said the Defense Department was aware of the November 6 protests and acknowledged that the vessel was part of the U.S. Navy's efforts to move military cargo, but because of security could not provide further details about the cargo or where it was going. A group of Black leaders in one of Seattle's most diverse neighborhoods is fighting back against gentrification. We'll share how they're doing it. A handful of Black leaders in Seattle's Rainier Beach neighborhood are pushing back against the displacement of residents and gentrification in the area. For over 2 decades, Robert Delgado has been fighting to preserve the diverse neighborhood as executive director of the Rainier Beach Resource Center. The organization offers several educational programs that provide minority youth with college readiness resources. Delgado and other leaders of Black-led organizations are combating displacement by acquiring the ground floor level of up-and-coming developments in Rainier Beach. Rainier Beach, the Central District, and Chinatown International District are Seattle's most culturally diverse areas, and displacement has become a threat due to gentrification and the overpriced housing market. 70% of Rainier Beach residents are people of color, with nearly 1 out of 4 Black residents, according to the City of Seattle. The neighborhood has historically bore the brunt of poverty and persistent safety concerns. These were critical factors in addressing the city's neighborhood plan. I'm Paris Jackson. Thank you for watching Crosscut Now, your destination for nonprofit Northwest news. Go to crosscut.com for more.